بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Digital banking and Sharia compliance, the role of Islamic Fintech in achieving Hifz al-Mal, presented by Abdul Ghani Amin Mubarak and my co-researcher, Abdul Salam Habib, Ismail Abdul Qayyum, and Muhammad Lutfi bin Masruh, under the Faculty of Islamic Studies, University Antarabangsa Tuanku Said Sirajuddin International University in Perlis, Malaysia, attending International Conference on Dire Studies, ICODS 2025. Inshallah, we dive into my topic now, and here are my table of content. So we have background of the study, problem statement, project objective of the study, research question, literature review, methodology, result, discussion, challenges and limitation, future research, conclusion. Now, the digital transformation of Islamic Fintech. What is Fintech? Fintech is financial technology in Islamic finance. So digital banking has revolutionized financial services globally. Mobile apps, we have online platform, online websites, and automated system that now dominate customer interaction, replacing traditional face-to-face banking, that is the physical banking. So in Muslim societies, this transformation creates strong demand for Sharia-compliant digital products. Islamic banks and fintech startups are leveraging technology to improve access and reduce cost and reach new populations, just to make it more broader and wider. So, however, technology is not value neutral. So it is not value neutral in Islamic thought. It must align with technology, or it must align with Maqasid Shariah, which are the higher objective of Islamic law. So we have technology, and this is the development, right? So it doesn't matter that Islam doesn't have any issue with technology or development, but anything that will come into Islamic must be Sharia compliant. Among these objectives, as we have known already, we have Hifz al-Mal, preservation of wealth, which holds central importance, requiring justice, transparency, and protection from harm in all financial activities. Now on to the next thing, which is the problem statement. So we have innovation, like technology versus compliance, that is the Islamic view. So rapid growth in Islamic fintech company. So digital financial products are now expanding faster than Sharia review capacity. That's a very big problem. So which is creating compliance gaps. So it is making it difficult for those that specialize in Islamic fintech or Islamic finance. So everything, we already have the finance or the banking system, which is contemporary. So how are we going to make it Islamica? So this is a very big problem. Another thing is the consumer protection. So for those that are using the bank or an application or a website, so simplified interface may hide contractual obligations. So weaken informed consent and wealth preservation. Yes, some things might be hidden in the app or in a transaction made via online. So how are the consumer or the users, how are they going to be aware of all of these things like this? So that's another issue. Another one is hiding risk, which has to do with what I just mentioned now. So we have complex digital structures. It may conceal riba, gharar, maisir. So and this is behind Islamic terminology. So without proper governance, digital innovation risk undermining the very principle it claims to hold. So if there is no proper governance or proper management, so we might not be able to achieve the Hifz al-Mal, definitely. So the research objectives, Hifz al-Mal, so this examine how well preservation is understood in classical and contemporary Islamic scholarships. So this is one research objective. So how are people aware of Islamic principles? So the second one is analyze digital adaptation. So investigate how key Islamic contracts are adapted into digital formats and platforms. The third is to identify and to reveal gaps between theoretical objectives and practical realities of Islamic finance, of digital Islamic finance. Now I'm on to the research questions. So our study is guided by central questions and several supporting inquiries, leading to a testable hypothesis that aim to clarify the intersection of digital finance and Sharia compliance. So the first is primary research questions. So let's look into this. How effectively do digital banking platforms preserve wealth while maintaining Sharia compliance? That is one. Secondly, what gaps, secondary questions. So what gaps exist between theoretical maqasid Sharia and practical digital implementation? Secondly, so how do digital contracts adapt traditional Islamic financial instruments? What consumer protection mechanisms exist within this platform? That's the secondary question. So the third is working hypothesis. So digital platform can uphold Hifdul Mal if they are properly governed. Like I said earlier, Islam doesn't have any issue with technology or development. We are very okay with it, but it must be Sharia. It must be Sharia compliance. It must be in line with Qala Allah, Qala Rasulullah, and Ijma and the Qiyas of Islamic scholars. So digital platform can uphold Hifdul Mal if properly managed, formed-based compliance without substance undermines wealth preservations. Consumer awareness is critical for genuine financial protection. Definitely. Consumer must be aware of whatever that is going in within a platform. Now, the literature review, looking at this with the view of our big sheikhs in Islam, established probably in the Shafi'i school of thought. So the the maqasid al-Shariah, Hifdul ad-Din, Hifdul Mal, Hifdul Nafs, Hifdul Aql, Hifdul al-Nasab wal-Ird. Like I mentioned, religion, wealth, life, intellect, lineage. These are very, very important. But my perspective here is basically on Hifdul Mal. So Al-Ghazali said in his book, Ihya Ulumuddin, he identified these 5 essential as foundation of human life and social order. Hifdul Mal extend beyond individual savings to encompass justice, stability, and societal protection. Okay, now, so in line with what I just mentioned recently, so we have a Shatibi, we have key scholarly insight on wealth preservation. We have a Shatibi, Ibn Ashur. So as for Shatibi, he said, wealth preservation operates at 3 levels. The first one is necessities for survival. Human beings need money, they need wealth for their survival. Like those that we need to buy food, we need to buy maybe medicines, or we need to buy water and the likes of things that we are very, very much in need. Secondly, is need to remove hardship. Probably if somebody is in maybe in debt, or they are facing any kind of life problem, so they are in need of money, so we might help them, probably medical issues and the likes. So, and also embellishment for lawful comfort. This falls under the tahsiniyat, like the thing that are secondary after you have attained the primary stuffs. So we are looking for ziyada, like addition of what you have owned earlier. You have a car already, so you want maybe 2, 3, 4, 5 cars. You have more house. You want more houses. So that is that, as narrated by Ash-Shatibi. And also Ibn Ashur said, financial rules achieve fairness. If there is financial rule, definitely we are going to achieve fairness. So this is to prevent exploitation and ensure wealth circulates in social beneficial ways. This is, of course, through zakat or sadaqah. And as for the contemporary scholars, the modern scholar of today, we have Adusuki and Bohoria. I don't know how to pronounce his name actually. So he emphasized that substances over form Islamic finance must genuinely protect economic well-being, especially for vulnerables. So if there is need for, in a case of emergency, maybe somebody has an accident and they are in need of money, so you cannot, as a bank, hold their money. They have to get their money whenever they are in need of the money. Now let's move forward. So as for Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "Who you believe, do not consume one another's wealth unjustly, but only through trade based on mutual consent." Antaradin minkum, as Allah says in Surah An-Nisa, verse 29. So in this verse, we are able to fathom 3 things. The first is mutual consent, justice in trade, sacred property. So for mutual consent, all transactions require genuine agreement from both parties. Maybe from the buyer or the seller, you must have full agreement. Secondly, is justice in trade. Muhammad SAW said, رحم الله رجلا سمحا إذا باع وإذا اشترى وإذا اقتضى. So this is referring to justice in trade. Whenever we want to make any trade, we should be fair, we should be considerate, and we should have, like, we shouldn't be very, very particular about everything. Economic activity must be fair and transparent. And also sacred property. Prophet Muhammad said, wealth, he declared wealth a more trust to be protected. This principle prohibits riba, gharar, and maisir, requiring clarity, honesty, and real economic activities. So digital Islamic contract. Like we already have murahaba, musharaka, ijara, sukuk, and zakah. We already have this in the traditional banking. So the problem is now that how are we going to manage these things if it is if it is bring under the technology? So if you want to have e-murahaba, e-musharaka, e-ijara, or zakah. So this is the first thing here is murahaba. As brother has said earlier, I was talking about murahaba previously, barakallahu fi. So murahaba is a cost plus profit sale requiring genuine ownership transfer. So digital platform risks symbolic ownership, undermining Sharia compliance, definitely. As for musharaka, this is a partnership business. Like party A and party B, they have an agreement that they want to engage in a business, and after the business, we are going to share our profit maybe in 50-50 or 50-40 ratios. So they should have a an agreement. So digital crowdfunding enables inclusion but requires transparency to prevent unjust risk allocation, definitely. And also ijara, leasing contract where owners bear assets. So in this kind of business, it is only the owner that owns the mechanisms that is going to bear the loss, not the lease, not the person that you owe or you borrow your mechanism. So digital automation must not shift ownership responsibility to leasing unfairly. And also, we have digital sukuk and zakah. So here we have opportunities and risk that I analyze here in the slide. So for sukuk are just like they are paper that entails their certificates that you have so property with this company. So this represents ownership in tangible assets, not debt. It has to be that you own this and you have the paper to prove that this is actually yours and you have an agreement with them. So it has to be tangible, not debt. So digital platform expand accesses and liquidity. So risk here is that it may replicate debt features without genuine asset backing. And the solution here that we have analyzed in our research is that there should be transparent asset ownership and return mechanisms. As for zakah, wealth purifications, prevents hoarding, ensures wealth circulation. The reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala commanded zakah is just to circulate wealth. Those that have more than what they need, they should share it and circulate it to the less privileged. So digital platforms that are operating zakah should enable accurate calculation and tracking. There should be a accurate management. So the risk here is that weak governance or data misuse undermines trust. Solution here is that ethical data protection and Sharia oversight. There should be somebody that oversee all of the things that are going in a zakat company. So conclusion under here is that conclusion and the path forward after we have analyzed all that I've talked earlier. So conclusion and way forward is that we should have strong governance. Strong governance is a very, very big board here. So Islamic institution must integrate maqasid Sharia-based evolution into digital product design with robust Sharia oversight. Foster collaboration, educate customer. So in educating customer, so they should have an awareness program that they are going to educate the people that are investing or they are engaging in an or on an online platform with them, probably in a bank or in a institution. So they should be aware of all that is going on there. So the key finding here is that digital banking can effectively support Hifz al-Mal when guided by sincere commitment to Maqasid Shariah. Technology is a tool, mashallah, that's a tool actually, but its impact depends on governance, transparency, adherence to Islamic principle in both form and substance. That is very, very important. So the research methodology of our research is we made use of a qualitative design. We gather data from people. So employing a qualitative research design to deeply analyze the nuances of Islamic financial platform and adaptations of traditional contracts. So how are people being how are they able to adapt to the modern way of banking, like the comparison between traditional contract and the modern contract, and also multi-method data collection, utilizing document analysis of platform terms, case studies of specific fintech innovations, and comprehensive review of contemporary Islamic scholarship. Maqasid Sharia lens. All analysis are filtered through the Maqasid Sharia, especially focusing on Hifz al-Mal, because finances is all about mal, to assess true compliance and societal benefits. Focusing on Murahaba, Musharaka, Ijara, Sukuk, and Zakah. So discussion and findings. I'll make this brief because of time. So we have interpretation of results, comparison with previous studies. So in the interpretation of results, let me just go in there quickly. So digital platform offer significant opportunities for broader access and efficiency in Islamic finance, aligning with Hifz al-Mal by facilitating wealth generation and distribution, and comparison with the previous studies. So this research builds upon existing scholarship that have been in existence previously, so that largely focus on theoretical potential of fintech for Islamic finance, and also theoretical implication. The study reinforced the dynamic nature of Maqasid Sharia, particularly Mal, which require continuous reinterpretation to address novel challenges posed by digital innovations. So it underscores the spirit and ethical objective of Islamic finance, which must always supersede purely formalistic adherence to digital contract structure, advocating for a substance over form approach in Islamic Sharia governance. I'll just skip that. So the challenges and the limitation. So looking at the scope limitations. So this research primarily focused on major Islamic fintech platform, potentially not capturing the full spectrum of emerging startups and niche innovations. Sharia interpretations. The study navigates varying interpretation of Islamic jurisprudence, acknowledging that compliance can be viewed differently across school of thought, like the Maliki, Shafi, and the Hanbali and the likes. So methodological constraints. Our qualitative approach offers deep insight, but it does not provide qualitative data on consumer behavior. So adoption rates or broader economic impact. And lastly, rapid technological change, like I mentioned in the introduction. So lastly, after looking at everything vividly, so this is the future research for those that are making research in this particular topic and next steps. So qualitative impact studies. So this is to measure consumer outcome and wealth preservation in digital Islamic finance through rigorous data-driven analysis. Comparative jurisprudence, analyzing how diverse Islamic school of thoughts interprets and adapts to digital contracts, compliance, and ethical implementation. And thirdly, blockchain and smart contracts, exploring how emerging technology can further enhance Sharia compliance, transparency, and efficiency in financial transactions. This, of course, is that for those that are in the Islamic fintech field, those that actually study Islamic Sharia should also study technology, because for them, they have the real knowledge of Islamic fintech. They know what is going on, so they can design a Sharia compliance application or website for people to use. So this by not breaching any of the scholarly mentioned or something mentioned by Allah, Muhammad Sallallahu or the qiyas or what is it called, qiyas and the ijma. So consumer behavior research, understanding the psychological and behavioral impacts of digital interfaces on financial decision making and wealth protection. And lastly, policy development, fostering collaborative research with regulators to develop adaptive and robust governance framework for Islamic fintech. So these are our references, and inshallah, I will pause here. Thank you for the opportunity, Ma, and thank you for listening. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa barakatuh.